Good afternoon, 7th period. How's things going? How's your Friday? Well, hopefully by now you have already finished your changes in demand chart that we started yesterday. So hopefully everybody has it in your notebook. Remember, I will be checking this. This is part of your Chapter 4 notebook. So it should be in there, but more importantly, it's going to be important to help you do the next part of what we're going to be doing today. So the next thing that I want you to do is that I want you to turn back to your IHOP graph that we did on Wednesday. So remember on Wednesday when we drew it, I told you to leave some room because we were going to come back to it. Well, today's that day. So turn back to your IHOP graph and I want you to find space to write these 5 sentences. So write them next to your demand curve for IHOP. Write these 5 sentences, but I want you to leave space in between each one because for each one I want you to tell me which factor, so which of those factors from that chart that you just finished, so income, taste, substitutes, complements, expectations, market size, which of those is being used in each of these sentences to cause the demand curve for IHOP to change. And I want you to draw what happens to the graph. So draw if it's a right shift or a left shift in demand. So I'm going to have pause the video. I want you guys to work on it as a group, help each other, see what you can do, and then restart the video to see if your answers were correct. Okay, hopefully you gave it a shot, so let's go through some of these answers. So number 1 says IHOP fails a health code inspection. What factor would that be? Well, if you said taste, you would be correct. Taste, remember, is going to be anything that changes the popularity of a place. So in this case, obviously, people won't want to go to a place that fails a health code inspection. So as a result, this is going to cause a left shift in demand for IHOP. Number 2 says Perkins has a 2-for-1 special today. So if you said substitutes, you would be correct. Remember, Perkins is a good substitute for IHOP. They both have breakfast items. So if Perkins has a 2-for-1 special, that means that you would more likely go to Perkins, so therefore, unfortunately, that decreases your demand for IHOP. So you should have drawn a left shift in demand. Number 3 says the unemployment rate increases. If you said income, you would be correct. This is income because unemployment rate is talking about how many people have jobs. So if the unemployment rate increases, that means more and more people don't have jobs. If more people don't have a job, that means their income goes down, which is a left shift in demand for IHOP. Number 4 says small business convention in town. If you said market size, you would be correct. This is market size because it brings more people to the area, so as a result, there's more people around, and while not all of them are going to go to IHOP, some of them will. So this is going to cause a right shift in demand for IHOP. And the last one says IHOP will increase their prices on Saturday. If you said expectations, that would be correct. Now, if you know that IHOP is going to increase their prices on Saturday, that means that's going to be an increase in demand today. So that's a right shift in demand today. Please remember that we are always graphing what happens to the demand now, not in the future. All right, so how did you do? Hopefully well. If not, we will address any problems with this next week. All right. Here's what I want you to do now is I want you to get out a sheet of paper that is not part of your notes, and I want you to think of one thing that can be bought and write it at the top of your paper. So I'll give you a couple minutes shuffling, find a sheet of paper, not part of your notes. Write one thing that can be bought at the top. Be as specific as possible, so don't just write a pizza, okay? A pepperoni pizza from Papa John's. Okay? Be as specific as possible because that will be helpful later. Okay, then you are going to partner up with one other person in the room. It does not have to be somebody in your group, so anybody of your choosing. And then what's going to happen is then you are going to get a set of index cards that shows the factors that cause a change in demand. So this is what it will look like. So you will have a bunch of factors. There will be 7 cards, 7 index cards, 1 for each of the factors that cause a change in demand, and 1 change in quantity demand. Okay? You're going to take the paper clip off that set of index cards. You're going to shuffle them together just like a deck of cards. And now what will happen is that you will then place them face down between you and your partner. So each person is then going to pick a card. Okay? I'm not going to tell my partner what's on this card, but I am going to use this for an example for the item on their paper. Okay? So I'm not going to tell them what's on it. They're going to have to try and figure it out. So for example, if I have my partner wrote Pizza Hut pepperoni pizza as their item, and I draw a card that says substitutes, I might say Domino's has a sale on their pizzas. Okay? I'm not telling my partner that it says substitutes on there. They're going to have to figure that out. So what will happen is that after my partner gets that example, okay, then they're going to have to write down my example on their paper. So they're going to write down, my partner's going to write down Domino's has a sale on their pizzas. Okay? Then they have to then figure out what factor is on the card without me telling them. Okay? So I'm not going to tell them it says substitutes. They have to figure that out. So they're going to write down Domino's has a sale on their pizzas. This is my partner. They're going to figure out, okay, this is substitutes. And then they're going to have to draw a small graph illustrating what happens to the demand curve. So this part, 2 and 3, is very similar to what you were just doing with your IHOP graph. But now you have somebody else giving you the examples, not me. Okay? So you're going to keep drawing cards, alternating between the two of you. Okay? So I'll draw a card, and then I'll put it in the discard pile. And then my partner will draw a card and give it to me. Okay? Give an example to me for the item on my paper. And we'll keep alternating until we each have 5 examples. Okay? For each example, you need to tell me what factor was being used and what happens to the graph. Make sure that when you're done, put your name and your partner's name on your paper, and then you can turn both of them onto my desk, into the tray, where your normal tray you would put your stuff in. And then what will happen is that I will go through and I will read through what you guys wrote, and then when we come back to class on Wednesday, because that's the next time I will see you, I will pass all of those back. And what will happen is that I will go and give you it back, and it will say on there, if you got 100% correct, you will get a grade on it. If not, then that means that you will have corrections to make. And this is one of those things where you are going to continue to make corrections until everyone is correct. The intention is so that way we don't make the same mistakes later on our quiz. Okay? So I would encourage the sub to kind of pause this part of the video and freeze it on the screen, so that way you have your instructions so that you can look at that. But make sure that you get a set of index cards from the sub, find a partner, and then make sure you write down the 1, 2, and 3 for each of the examples. Okay? All right. Good luck, and I will see you on Wednesday.